Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks Plays Naval Action, and in today's episode we will be comparing ships, more specifically 6th rates. So we will be reviewing Brig, which you can see here, followed by a Navy Brig. Then we will take a closer look at Mercury, and after Mercury we will take a look at Niagara, which I believe is still not available to some players, and also then we will be taking a look at the Snow. So, which of these ships we will compare these 5. Which of them is the best? Okay, so let's take a look at the first ship. The first ship is the Brig. The Brig is the first square rigger that you will encounter. Square rigger means that its sails are perpendicular to the direction of sailing, and it's also the first ship with which you have to learn on how to tack. Also tack against the wind, and also how to control the sails, and especially manual sails. Otherwise, Brig will turn very, very poorly. Now, that being said, let's take a look at some pros of the Brig. Brig, being a square rigger, is excellent when running with the wind. So as long as you're going away from the wind and at roughly, let's say, up to 45 degrees angle with the wind direction, it is very fast. It is also the most maneuverable of the all sixth rates. So if we look at a little bit of the cons is that it is a little bit slow tacking, because coming from the fore and aft riggers you're probably familiar with like much faster tacking and everything, so it takes a while to get to learn. It has actually very low crew for a 6th rate, which means boarding actions against comparable ships will be weak. And also it has weakest armament of the 6th rates. So let's take a look at its bigger brother, or stronger brother, the Navy Brig. The Navy Brig is a little bit more or less like reskinned Brig with a little bit different paint job, and in Naval Action there are some differences between Brig and Navy Brig. So it does inherit some of its benefits, but there are some significant differences. So if we compare Navy Brig, how does it compare to the other 6th rates that are currently available in the game? The pros of the Navy Brig: it is the best armored 6th rate, hands down. Its armor is tough as nails. And also it has a crew of 135 compared to the Brig's 110, which is roughly, well, it's not the best, but it's also pretty good and pretty on par. It is among the better ones, let's just say like that. So, what are the cons? The cons are that it is actually the slowest 6th rate. So Brig is the fastest and the Navy Brig is the slowest, and it is also very sluggish. It turns slowly. I guess all that armor weighs it down a little bit. And also one thing that I forgot to mention, that it has 9 guns per side as opposed to the Brig's 8. So it is slight improvement in terms of armament from the Brig. Next, let's take a look at the Mercury. The Mercury is designed after a Russian Brig Mercury. You will see more details in the ship, kind of when we will be looking at the ship specifically. In this video we are focusing how does it compare against others. If you look at it, it is a very nice model. It is a big model, I can tell you that much. and it has 10 guns per side. So if you look at it, it only has the side guns. It has no forward, or no bow or stern chasers, but it's also pretty fast. So the pros: it has good armor. It has only slightly less than the Navy Brig, which is the best armor ship in the game. It has a very good armament, meaning you are able to mount 24-pounder carronades, and it is pretty fast. It can actually, running downwind, it can outrun a frigate even. So the cons for this particular ship is that it is slower turn rate than the other two masted ships because of its long and sleek. So it is pretty fast but slow turn rate. It kind of offsets each other. It has no bow or stern chasers, and it's actually the biggest target of all the 6th rate. If you look at the I was measuring by the cross section when you expose your port or starboard side, how big is the target. So the next ship is Niagara. To my understanding, Niagara is still not available to all of the players, but it has been handed as a thank you from the devs to the guys who were testing before, and I guess it will come a little bit later. Niagara was originally designed after USS Brig Niagara. More details you will see on the ship description video. And it is actually a pretty decent ship, but it's sort of a little bit more like a glass cannon of the Naval Action. Or at least it has been before. Now there were some updates to its armor. So, if we look at the pros, it has great speed at all points of sail for a square rigger. It has lots of sail and very low sleek profile. So it has best armament. You can actually mount 9-pounder cannons or 32-pounder carronades, which are basically high caliber guns, and you have 10 guns per side and 2 rear chasers. It's lightning fast. In this video I was able to actually catch Renome. It's also the smallest target. Its cons is its terrible turn rate. I'm a little bit sorry for the description here, but it's terrible turn rate. It's comparable to actually Renome, that is 5th rate frigate. And its armor, well, I'm saying so because when compared, it is pretty decent armor, but yeah. And then the last of the ships that we are comparing is actually the Snow. The Snow is modeled after USS Ontario, and it is actually a very interesting ship. It is small, it is a little bit chubby, but that puts it in a relatively unique position. It packs a lot of things that every starter captain dreams of, which is guns. It has a metric crap ton of guns. A total of, let's see, 8 and 3, 11, times 2, 22, and 4, so 26 guns in total. If you think about it, that's even more than Niagara. So it has lots of guns, but they're offset by their small caliber. The good thing about the small caliber guns that their reload time is much faster. So compared to the heavier armed ships, its reloads are a little bit faster. It is also the smallest target of all because of its small chubby cross section, and that gives it a very good turn rate. So the cons of it is that it has weak armor and that it is pretty slow. So it's not the ship that you want to be tanking with, but it is a ship that will outturn everything else and happily stern camp any other ship. So, with those things on the table, I think that we need to consider what would be actually our preferred ship of the 5th rates. So my favorite 5th rate ship is actually the Snow. because despite its lighter armament and weaker armor, in the hands of a capable captain that knows what it's doing, you can storm camp enemies forever. It has bow chasers, it has stern chasers, and it is actually a very capable ship, well armed, that can punch a hole everywhere. That concludes our video. Hit subscribe for more content that's coming soon. Thanks again for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.